What's up? What's up? Rats, rats, rats.
Who's the rat?
Why is Uncle Chuck starting off with rats?
Uncle Cuck?
Is he trying to bring back the group chat rat?
Here we go. Hey, what's a good time for?
It's probably a good time for
God bless America, and gentlemen, start your engine!
Still down there. Still down there.
Still outside corner, you're number one.
Was out. Hell was out. Vanessa just about out-wrecked him. And then she busted her ass.
have dogs, they said. It'll be fun, they said. They can't even see now. I see you blocked it and they're still barking.
I know.
Golly, I'd hate to be oxygen right now.
Yeah. How are we fucking late? We're late.
There we go.
If we're late,
We are not late. You're late. Howdy, fellas. What's up, David Mons? How's it going, everybody? Uncle Chuck Racing. Unacceptable. This is going to be some ginger on ginger hate right now. This is unacceptable. We cannot have this out here. All right.
We are soulless, so what are you going to do?
Fit check. I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Why are y'all 2 minutes late? Well, because
Oh, Jesus. Shut up, Matt.
I mean, your show starts literally whenever Dakota finally shows up. That's all I'm saying. Like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I don't want to hear it right now. We're talking about good things. You know, old AD didn't. He lost his third appeal. Now he's going to the Supreme Court. That's what we're here to talk about. Not being 2 minutes late.
Yeah.
Huh?
Turn your volume up.
Mine's working.
Yeah, you're working.
I think you just need to hit this thing called the. Keep going. He has a valid point about Dakota.
Look, I'm like David now.
What? All right. So we had Daytona this week. We also have a lot of news actually coming out. Some pretty exciting stuff that we talked about in the group chat earlier today.
We did?
So I think this is going to be a pretty fun episode.
Let me roll the intro.
I think we've already done that because the dogs decided they wanted to be our intro today.
Yeah, but I didn't get a chance to cut you off.
Well, you know, it is what it is. But let's dive right into Daytona. Obviously, Daytona is one of those.
What?
I saw the text. Obviously, we're sitting. You bastard! I wore it because it matches the shirt. That's the only reason. Just putting it out there. The only reason I'm wearing this is because
the shirt though. That's a Hooters hat and a Bass Pro shirt. One
sorry,
is bankrupt,
wrong titty.
and one
This
is on
titty
sale.
matches. Sorry, don't hate, assassinate. All right.
What size is that
Goodness
shirt?
gracious. Huh?
What size is that shirt? 7XL?
Don't worry about it. It's a bed sheet for other people. For me, it's a shirt. All right. Just let's not judge here. This is a judge-free zone. So let's dive into Daytona action. Obviously, Daytona, anyone can win at any time. You're late. Now you're actually late. I've already put that on the screen.
Just reiterating it.
I gotta drink my water. Oh, good heavens.
Dakota
So,
probably liked the show anyway.
Can we please talk about Daytona?
What? What? No fashion. Hey, I wasn't shaming you.
We all stick together, Andy. It's a fat pride. Well, it's awesome that HB got his first win at Daytona. Do y'all think the way getting in the playoffs needs to change? Wasn't he like 34th in points? All right, let's just dive right into it. Get Andy back in the right track of mind right now. So
yes, he was the last guy like regular season point.
He still is, even after the win. When it comes to when they put the points in, other than the fact that he gets in because of obviously the win, he is still the last driver that is full time in points.
Does that does
He had 200 points, and he's getting in above people that had 600 points. Makes absolutely no sense.
Does that mean his owner points are? Yeah. I'm trying to find this. Yeah, 30
I
good
think
owner points. So,
Shouldn't the fat symbol be more like this? I feel like it should. Yeah.
we're outnumbered.
But yeah, I mean, he was somewhere just over 200 points, I think 220 points, and now he's making it in the playoffs over some people that have 600 points.
Oh, for real?
Is there such thing as a wasted playoff spot?
Yes.
Okay, so me and you agree.
Is he going to do it? Okay, we're going to get spicy right off the bat here. Is he going to do
right off the bat?
anything?
And I know, Matt, I know you're listening, so just take a note here.
Who's going to finish worst in the first round?
It's
Harrison
him and
Burton
Cindric.
Or Cindric?
It's Harrison Burton's going to be worse. Then Cindric's going to be out. I mean, it's the first cut off is almost as clear as day as it can be.
Yo, for real,
huh?
for real though, the first race of the playoffs is Atlanta. So Harrison Burton's going to go win that one and go to the next round.
It's just not happening. There's there's no way possible that this is going to translate into great playoffs. They need to bring back at least the top 30 rule, because then at least Harrison still wouldn't be in it, because he's still going to be 34th in points, 32nd in points. It makes no sense for winning your end.
So I saw a stat yesterday.
What's up, Andrew? How's it going, buddy?
It said that Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, and Harrison Burton all had 98 cup starts before their first win, which, okay, that puts Harrison in like really good company, but Chase and Kyle both had like, I forget the amount of top fives or top tens it was. Let's just say it was like 60, 50, 40, something like that. And Harrison had 6. What are you doing?
Nothing. Don't worry about it. Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, it doesn't make sense. And we talked about these playoff berths where the person just did not actually earn it. I still put Harrison's win above Cindric's win, because that day Cindric's car was not the number 1 or number 2 car. It was the number 3, and because of the other ones running out of fuel, that's the only reason he won his race. At least Harrison won it fair and square. He outperformed Kyle Busch. KFB and his curse is still going on. And so Harrison more earned this one. It's just overall, it's not going to matter for anything. He's going to be last. He's going to have no points. It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, how many playoff points does Harrison have?
They have 6. Just the ones from this race, and that's the only ones he's going to have.
Yeah.
If you guys have a little chance, yeah, for sure. Cindric by a mile. I know Harrison Burton runs worse. Typically, he barely even finishes races. 16 Burton, 15 Suarez, 14 Cindric, 13 Gibbs. Right now, if Ty Gibbs doesn't turn things around, now he's squeaking out some kind of secret top 10s right now.
I think Ty is okay. He'll make it as long as he has a decent race at Darlington.
Yeah, but I think what Uncle Chuck is trying to say is he's going to be one of the first 4 out, and I can see that for sure.
Right, because he's only 15th. Where's he at in points? Shit, he's 10th in points.
He's doing pretty good. Busher is below him.
But that's because
Busher's in a bad spot right now.
Where's the playoff picture? There it is.
12 to 16 is all wild.
Yeah, so Ty is plus 39. So Ty just has to like squeak through Darlington and he'll be in. And then with the way things seed out, he's still going to be the bottom 4. Yeah. Yeah, he'll still be bottom 4. So
yeah, I mean it's just
and what Matt's saying right here, 12 through 16 is wild card spots anyways. I mean, yes, hats off to Harrison for winning a race. Awesome for Wood Brothers to break that 100 win not streak, but 100 career, 100 organizational wins or whatever for Wood Brothers. But like the whole thing is Harrison has been mute the entire career
all year
in the Cup Series.
It's not just 98 races for his first win.
It's the entire career of his, which I get it. Wood Brothers is not the best team or organization, but they do have affiliation and whatnot. with Penske. But I mean, I'm not taking away from what Harrison did, but we know that he's going to be the first one out. Like he's going to go to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Take Atlanta off. So we go to Watkins Glen afterward. He's going to run 20th, 25th, maybe.
He's not going to finish the race.
Very, very possible. And
He's going to wreck out.
At Bristol, he's going to be laps down.
Yeah, I get Matt's point here, but I also don't get it because that's like giving the wild card in the NFL to the worst team. Like, all right, cool. They won a game that season. Congrats.
It's a participation trophy. Like realistically, you have 8 teams that are even going to have a shot to win the championship. You could damn near take the round of 12 out of it and just start with the round of 8.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm fine with it being where it's at 16, but we've got to fix this. The wild cards should be the top running teams, not the one guy that chanced his way into a Daytona, a Talladega, or an Atlanta win. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's nothing that I feel like can be done to the playoff system that would just I don't know. Without drastically overhauling the playoff system, I don't think anything can be done to fix it.
They have to drastically change it. We need to. Yes, obviously wins matter.
I really don't have a problem with the way it is now, other than the fact that we go into one race at the end of the year to determine your champion. That's my biggest gripe. Like I can talk. The thing is, he's a waste of playoff spot. Cindric's a waste of playoff spot. Yeah, they won to get in, but they're not going to do anything. You get to the round of 12. Even the bottom 4 seeds in the round of 12, they're not going to do anything. Maybe one guy that gets hot at the right time. We saw it with Blaney last year, but you're still you still have to collect playoff points through the entire year to do anything.
But Blaney was already racing better than someone like a Harrison Burton or an Austin Cindric. That's why this whole you just win so you get in makes no sense. And I'm gonna jump all the way down here to Matt's before I come back up to everybody else's. It's like college basketball team that was trashed all year but went off at the end of the season. They still had to qualify. They still had to get to that point. And Harrison Burton won't even qualify for that. He won one. That's like the college basketball team winning one game in the qualifier, and that's it, and losing all the rest of them. That's what he did here. Who would you rather watch a race on? I know a lot of people don't like Bubba Wallace, but he is running consistently right now in the top 10 on most races that he's in if there's not an accident. Who would you rather have in the playoffs? The guy that's vying for a actual win, going for multiple top 10s, or the guy that can't find a top 10 to save his life, except for the one track where it's up to chance to begin with? It makes no sense. We have to fix the way this is set up.
Honestly, I feel like we wouldn't be talking or making as big a deal as this as it is if Daytona was the regular season ending race. Like, we still got one more race to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Whereas it used to be like a couple years ago, Austin Dillon pushed to the win at Daytona. That was an awesome story because it was the last chance to get in, and he got in. Whereas this year, I get the Olympics and everything screwed all that up. But
so I believe in Buescher over Gibbs. I mean, I could definitely see that. Buescher overall is running better right now, but Gibbs has been secretly pushing out top 10s, top 5s. Does this at least give him a seat for next year? Because it's kind of funny that we get Wood Brothers' 100th win while on the way out.
Yeah, he gets a seat next year in the Xfinity Series.
I'm about to say, I don't know of any cup rides that are going to be open for him. Supposedly right now, all the cup openings are filled. They just haven't been fully announced yet. There's 2 of them. One of the announcements should come very soon, and the other announcement should come somewhere around after that. But we've heard names for both seats. One of them's confirmed. I made a video on TikTok. You can go check that out if you want to. But it's definitely a thing where most of those seats are already confirmed. There's no real openings out there anymore. Now, Xfinity wise, there's a lot of Xfinity openings right now, and there's even some truck openings out there. I mean, we're going to have to replace some seats. I mean, even Chandler Smith's going to be leaving the Xfinity ranks, so it's going to be interesting.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Y'all got any more races this year? Andrew, you shouldn't have to ask that question. You already know that we're going to both Atlantas, both Charlottes. So we have Atlanta coming up, obviously 2 weekends from now. And then we have Bristol that we're going to, and then we'll be at Charlotte as well. hanging out with the boys at Bristol. Can't wait for that one. But he doesn't wreck out of the Glen. I'll buy you a hat if you win. Okay, perfect. I'll buy you a hat. If he doesn't wreck out, I'll buy you a hat. If he does wreck out, you buy me a hat. I get to pick. I'm not listening to any more of Matt's hypocrisy over here. The race was so good, and the win was so feel good. I really don't care. Happy for the kid. I mean, I'm happy for his dad more than I'm happy for Harrison.
No, man, I'm still happy for Harrison. Harrison's a nice guy.
He's a nice Oompa Loompa.
You're so negative.
He qualified by winning. You, goodness gracious. Would be nice if we could.
I mean, Matt's got a point.
No, because what I was talking about whenever he put that up there was the qualifier for making it to like the basketball championship. They win one game in the entire qualifier, not the game.
The point is,
he didn't win the game.
No, listen, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. The point is that he won to get in the playoffs. Like, that's the rule. Like, you win and you're in. That's how you get in the playoffs. But I think you and I can agree that the playoffs is diluted. Like, the lowest of the 16 are not going to do anything, period.
Yeah.
Because they haven't gotten any stage points or collected any playoff points through the entire season.
Yes, but if they are actually vying for wins, they could win one of their races.
Right. I'm not disagreeing with you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why they need to fix it, because if it's me, I'm not like, what makes the fan want to tune in for the first few rounds of the racing playoffs? Because right now it's drivers that there's no way they're making it through. Like, unless you get a Hail Mary or a wall ride, you're not going to make it through the next round because they have no playoff points. They don't even vie for wins week in, week out. So there's no hope. So the first 4 races are wasted.
So it's like with the Denny penalty, he lost a lot of playoff points, which set him, like, now he's 8th in points or something like that.
He's down to 8th now.
So that being said, like, oh, wow, Denny went from like 3rd to 8th. And you could be like, well, Denny's championships chances are over. Well, yes, he lost playoff points, but guess what? Like you said, he's contending for wins. So I'm not writing him off to win the championship this year. He can easily go and win a race in every single round and still go to the playoffs. Harrison Burton's not going to do the same thing. And he doesn't have the points.
No. But you look at some of these other teams, and they could. So that's why, we just need to fix it to where we make the playoffs something that's actually competitive from the beginning all the way through the end, or change the number of people in the playoffs. That's it.
I agree with changing the number of people in the playoffs. I think 16 is too much. I think you go to 12. I think 12 gives you like the perfect number to where you have good teams and you have 1 or 2 teams that can kind of eke their way in and potentially maybe be an upset.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I would go with that number. I'm fine. I'll be happy.
I see the argument though with Matt though too at the same time. Like Ross Chastain, he's 17th now. Is that right? So
yeah, I think so.
He's not in the playoff. No, he's actually wrong page. He's 18th. So Bubba and Ross are 17th, 18th. Kyle Busch 19th. Like, they haven't won a race this year. So yeah, I guess you could say they don't deserve to be in the playoffs, but
they're more in contention than Harrison Burton, Austin Cindric, Austin Dillon.
Right. I mean, so like you can't say Harrison's win was fluky because he was survived to be there, even though it's Daytona.
Daytona, that's the problem. That's the problem with the super speedways.
I don't know, man. Like, I see both sides of this argument. I really do.
And I get it. You gotta be careful because it's like, even here, shorten the playoffs and only take the top 8.
Man, that's what I like.
If you do something,
instead of having like 3 races in each round, why don't you have more races in each round and have a championship round, not a championship race? Boom.
Oh, I 100% with that. I mean, we've talked about that. The last one should be 1 race of each type in that last qualifier. Whoever comes out with the best at the end of the last 4 races, that's where it should be.
Stop stealing my ideas.
So what?
Huh?
I already said that.
I said it months ago.
You can't handle the truth. Yeah, I can. See y'all at Bristol. That'll be nice. Bristol and Charlotte. Cool.
You know where to find us at Charlotte.
Keep putting Lee Diffie on call, and I'll watch just for that.
Yeah, how about Lee Diffie? Let's talk about it.
Lee Diffie was phenomenal. I mean, the dude.
I think Matt's going to disagree with us on this too, because he's like, Australian in the fucking booth.
You know, haters gonna hate. That's all we got to say. Haters gonna hate. Lee Diffie did an amazing job. It was one of those things like when you're watching it, I see why he's able to do so many different sports. He was able to obviously do the Olympics as well. And it makes sense. Like when he talks, he is so thorough with how he's saying things. He's also like predicting what's happening based off what he's seeing, but he gets it right every time. It is so weird, but he is just phenomenal.
Yeah, he kind of got in there and just picked up right where Rick left off and was better than Rick, to be honest. I mean,
way better than Rick.
We listened to Rick Allen for so many years on NBC. I never really particularly cared for Rick. I thought he was okay, but and Lee Diffie, like, I can get it sometimes. Like his accent can be maybe a little annoying, but at the same time, he brings excitement that Rick, I don't know, Rick Allen. Oh, we got problems. We got problems on the track.
Yeah, like he gets into a point where it's just like, all right, I gotta put something out there, and then I gotta catch up, or he'll start saying someone wrecked, and it's not even the right person.
Well,
so
it's kind of nice to shake up the booth too, since Dale Jr. left NBC. Kind of
I still miss that.
Yeah,
like there's an obvious void there.
Well, yeah, there definitely is. But
yeah,
to touch on the broadcast too, like how about no commercial breaks during green flag racing? Full screen
for the rest of the season. They said for the rest of the regular season. So this week, next week.
Oh, really?
Yes, this week, next week.
They said Atlanta and Talladega will be side by side for green flag action too.
Oh, they're doing it there too. All I knew is it was regular season for at least the first part. So that's awesome. Because I mean, would Fox do that?
No, fuck no,
absolutely not.
Fox would have a commercial break like on lap 3.
You ain't lying. So over on Instagram side, New Jersey Devil said, "We think Kyle Busch still has a chance to make the playoffs next week." Chance, yes, very slim, very, very slim.
I mean, I'm wearing a Kyle Busch hat, but I mean,
yeah,
I think it's pretty much over with.
Mm-hmm. We unfortunately we know the guy that puts the wraps on the cars over there, and he put lead weights underneath the wrap. They just don't know it yet, and it's going to weigh him down, unfortunately. So it is what it is there.
Yeah.
I got the same. Oh, he's got the same hat as you. That's awesome. It's great to hear. Thank you, Dalton.
It's Jover.
Oh yeah.
How about the race though?
The race was phenomenal. This was 3 wide from basically the get go. There was no fuel savings. This is what they need to do.
Well, the second stage had a little bit of fuel saving, but yeah.
Yeah, this is what they need to do. They need to make sure that every stage is not a fuel run. They need to make sure that it's always short enough that they can make it from start to finish. If that means adding another stage, add another stage.
I said this in the group, and I stand by it. I would gladly give up competitive green flag pit stops at super speedways to shorten the stages or whatever in order to have no fuel mileage racing at super speedways. I want 100% throttle all out every single lap like we saw in stage 1. We saw a little bit in stage 2, but stage 1 was phenomenal. I mean, they were on edge the entire stage. The fact that they didn't even wreck or anything, that was amazing. But then in order to do, 3 wide for, I think it was 40 laps was the first stage, was it?
Yeah.
That was awesome. So that just goes to show that this package is a phenomenal package. I think the racing has gotten really good at super speedways. The runs, it's incredible how the runs just come out of nowhere. Like you could just, I was riding on board with Kyle the entire race, and just
go figure.
Yeah. Well, of course. I mean, why wouldn't I? The amount of runs that just like they come off a turn 2, and you'd think that they'd start falling back, and out of nowhere the line just gains all this momentum. Like they talked about it. Denny's talked about it. A lot of the other drivers have talked about it. How this next generation car on super speedways, it's hard to predict the runs, but they come so quickly versus like the old car. You know, you had to wait a half a lap, 3/4 of a lap to build that energy and momentum up.
It was just a corner. It took one corner to get that energy where it needed to be. And that third lane, man, it would be literally, they would be, if you looked at the ticker, they would be all the way back almost in 20th. And then all of a sudden, by the time they exited the corner, they were charging up and in the top 1, 2s, and 3s. You're right. It was insane. And that
you saw it on the
what we have to
last
figure out
lap with Harrison Burton and Parker Retzloff. Like Kyle Busch, I thought that Kyle had it in the bag. And then
he would have if he drugged the brakes. All he had to do was drag the brakes and keep on the bumper.
I had switched over to Kyle Busch's in car on that last green flag, or the green white checkered, and on the last lap on the backstretch, he's in the lead. He has he has car length or two over the guy behind him. I think it was Christopher Bell, and then it was like there was no change in like engine RPM or anything, and then all of a sudden you just saw the 21 and then 62 just right by him. Like it was just the two cars. It was nobody.
They had steam. They had because
but
before
coming off of turn 2, they didn't have that, and that's what I mean. Like the momentum just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like it can build out of nowhere. It can build in the middle of the turn, coming out of the turn. It didn't, like you said, it didn't take a full lap to make it anymore. And I think that was what made the race phenomenal. And also, Corey LaJoie's non-driving app made it to where the second stage actually wasn't that bad, just because he has no talent. I mean, obviously, he ends up pushing when you shouldn't be pushing. There's nowhere to go, and it causes a wreck. But that split up the stage to where the fuel was no longer an issue because they were starting to save. But then all of a sudden that happened, and boom, it's let's go, boys. Let's get it all out there again. Yeah. And it saved stage 2.
Well, I mean, it would have been kind of interesting. Like I always like fuel strategy when it comes to racing, but aside from the super speedways from what we've seen. But there was like – I don't know if the Chevys had to have had a plan, and the other manufacturers had to have had a plan. But Cliff Daniels was like, "Yeah, we're going to stick to the plan here. You know exactly what the plan is going into stage 2." So I would have been curious to see how that would have worked out, what they were planning on doing, because some of those guys, they run hard and then they pit and take a little bit of fuel and go out, and some of the other guys, they only run 50% throttle and they back the whole pace down. So I don't know. Were they planning on running as hard as possible?
They were doing that. If you watch stage 2, once you got into like right when they got into stage 2 almost, it never went to 3 lanes in stage 2 until after the Corey incident because they had started to do the fuel savings of slowing down. If you watch, and I know you were on the app as well, you could see it because they were no longer full throttling on the app anymore. And so you could watch and see like the lap speeds were down already. So they were saving there, but then once the LaJoie caution happened, once he forgot how to drive again, it just turned into, all right, we can make it now. We've all pitted. We have the amount of fuel that we need. Unfortunately, there's still not a lot of tire fall off, but if they make it like this and they make it to where the stages don't have to be worrying about fuel, I don't think the tire matters.
Yeah, I don't care about the tire super speedways. It's all about the fuel. Like the tire doesn't have to wear out. We don't need to see drastic handling and tire wear come into play when it comes to a super speedway, because I don't want to see big wrecks caused just by tires blowing out or handling situations or whatever. Like I thought Saturday night's race was phenomenal because they all had enough grip and speed in the car, especially that first stage. After the wreck in the second stage, like that's what we need to see. That's what I want to see. It's just how do you implement that going forward? And it's like you said, do we add another stage to super speedway racing? We have 4 stages at Charlotte because it's 100 laps per stage. Mm-hmm. Why don't we do 4 stages of super speedways to break it up, get rid of that fuel economy shit? Because that
right now that's the only way to do it. And that's the thing. NASCAR is like, oh, we don't want to make a change to the rules. You can make a change again when they figure it out. Like if we change the car,
well, they might do that for next year.
Yeah, but I'd like to see them do something here because the fuel mileage racing that we saw earlier in the year, it wasn't it. I mean, obviously it wasn't it. Before we continue on talking about the race, Matt says, what do y'all give the race on the chair gating scale? I mean, for me, I'm going with like probably a 9.1.
I was going to say like an 8.9.
Yeah, I'm really close to the heights. The only reason I'm giving it the 9-1 is because it didn't take cautions to make this race good. They
Yeah,
stayed 3 wide for the majority of the race. It was great super speedway racing.
I don't give it a solid 9-0 or higher than that just because the way, again, late race caution. Like why does it always seem like every single race has to end under green white checkered anymore? Like I'm so tired of it. And I get it's a super speedway thing. Like that's probably what's going to happen, but just had so many races this year. And it's just like seems like everything's going great. We have a banger of a race, and then just boom, overtime finish. Here you go.
Yep.
All hell breaks loose.
Well, and it'll be for the smallest thing too.
Yeah, I mean,
this got barely bounced off the wall. Caution.
Yeah. Obviously, last week, the Truex thing, but even this week, I don't.
Early cheer. Oh. So I think me and Matt are on the same page here.
Yeah, I'm being a little lenient.
I think me and Matt are on the same page here. But
I guess that means everybody watching has to tune into Chairgating at some point this week, Thursday night, Wednesday night.
Yep, Wednesday night I think is one of those. Matt, put it in the comments.
Whenever Dakota chooses to be.
I'm about to say, what date and time is it this week? Just put it in the comments. That way I can put it up there real quick.
Yeah.
But it's always a fun show to watch as well. They're funny. Those guys are funny as hell.
Speaking of Dakota.
So what?
I said, speaking of Dakota, where the fuck is he?
He's probably just, out doing whatever he wants, not caring about his friends again.
Yeah.
Just is what it is.
Normal.
But talk about people that don't care about their friends. How about NASCAR and the fix for flipping over? Obviously, we saw McDowell earlier in the race get up on his side, but then land it back down.
Man.
And then on top of that, obviously, we all know what happened with Barry. He went for a wild ride.
I said the same thing last week's episode about when Corey flipped over. Why are we making such a big deal about cars flipping over? Like, it's not that big a deal. It really isn't. Like, I get they flip over, it can cause incidences, and it can be a bad situation. We've seen it, with the Ryan Newman situation and whatnot at Daytona. But more times than not, when they flip, they don't cause any injury to the drivers.
Yeah.
And like I said last week, this is what these guys sign up for. Like I think Denny said it best. Like the only way you're going to keep them from spinning or flipping over, I'm frozen again. God damn it! At the worst point, the only way you're going to get these cars to stop flipping over is slow them down. And I'm not.
That's going to make worse. That's going to make more wrecks.
Yeah, I'm not watching Daytona at 150 mile an hour.
Ain't happening. I mean, it's not going to happen. People that are shocked that NASCAR cars flip over are the same ones that are surprised the sharks attack happened in the ocean. Yeah, that's 100% true. And here's my take on this. This year, for everyone that's flipped over, we've had 4 cars now. Corey LaJoie twice, and then Sieg now as well. So 5 times.
Yeah.
Out of those 5 times, how many of those drivers did not just get out of the car and walk out on their own power?
Well, I mean, it's like Josh Berry last Saturday night. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, I hope Josh is okay. He gets out of the car, thumbs up, right after they flip the car over, and they interview him at the infield care center.
He was interviewing like he just got out of school.
Well, yeah, he was like, yeah, it looked bad, but I promise you it wasn't.
Yeah, it looked way worse. That shows that what NASCAR has done on the side, other than just the little fin, that is helping tremendously. If they can get out of a wreck like that, one that looked so bad, and they just walk off and there's no problems. I mean, other than Ryan Preece, there has not been a flip that has caused any bodily injury in the last 3 years.
Yeah. And I think the scariest part about the flips are just when a car flips in the middle of a pack or in front of the pack and they go over top of the rest of the field, like the Austin Dillon situation in 16 or 17 at Daytona.
When he hit the catch fence?
When he hit the catch fence. Or the Ryan Newman situation, getting hit by Matty D. Like there are situations that, that looks terrible and they do cause injury, but those are few and far between. And again, these guys, they sign up for it. Why do you think their life insurance policies are so damn much? Because they're driving 200 mile an hour in a pack of 40 fucking cars. Like it is what it is. Like, why do we make such a big deal about a car slipping over?
Well, and I think the accidents you just talked about, the ones you just called out, I think if you take those same exact accidents and you put them in this car, I think it would be actually a lot better. I think they would be able to walk away, no injuries. I mean, Austin Dillon's was horrific. I mean, obviously it shredded the car apart, but I don't think this car would do the same.
Yeah, I think it would be too. I think this car, they've definitely made strides to make this car safer than what it was when it first came out. And the way the car is constructed and being 3 different parts, the front clip with the chassis, the roll cage section, and the rear clip. Yeah, if they get up in the stands or in the catch fence or whatever, they're just going to tear apart. They're going to dissipate that energy. So I'm pretty annoyed, really, just week after week. It seems like that not only are we having overtime cautions, all we're talking about is, NASCAR's got to figure out how to get these cars to stop flipping over. Like,
there's no reason to keep running it the way they're running it. There's absolutely no problem with what they're doing right now. It is what it is.
That's the way I feel about it.
So now we've gotten in there. Let's get into some the accidents that we did see other than those two, and that's Corey LaJoie. Obviously, we had Ray Charles in the group this week and didn't think that they did it wrong, anything wrong.
Stray bullets.
You and your brother over there just don't know how to drive. But
Brother,
yeah, I mean y'all are twins.
Fuck off.
But he's obviously out of a ride. He doesn't have anything lined up currently for next year.
No, I've heard rumors of where he's going next.
Walmart.
Bed Bath & Beyond.
Him and Harrison Burton are going to be flipping burgers together.
Yeah.
Look, Harrison Burton at least got to win.
Yeah, at least Harrison Burton's got to win in the top series. Top 3 series.
But when we're talking about Corey, someone that's already struggling for a ride, his teammates are doing way better than him. I mean, Zane, I think, hasn't – they said Zane hasn't had a finish outside of the top 20 except for 2 times since Nashville.
That's pretty good. I mean –
And I think Corey LaJoie has had only outside the top 20 finishes.
And we've kind of glossed over the fact that Zane's been let go by Trackhouse already since he signed, that developmental contract with Trackhouse. So it kind of sucks for him, being that, he started to build this momentum and everything, starting to learn the car, and he hasn't really had any experience in this car other than, the first half of the season. And he's out. Is he going to find somewhere else to go? I know he will. I know he'll get another opportunity in the Cup Series. The
sad part is right now, I don't think he gets a Cup ride next year.
I'm not saying he gets a Cup ride next year. I think he's going to have to, work his way back. But it sucks for him because he has, been putting some solid finishes together and some solid results. Nothing setting the world on fire, but he's a rookie at the same time. So, like, your expectations have to be low. It just kind of weird that Trackhouse, kind of invested in Zane and then just immediately is like, no, we're going to push you aside. We don't care about you no more. We're going to put SVG in our third car. Like,
can you blame them, though? Because when they made that decision, NASCAR had not changed the charter rule to make it to where they could only have 3.
Yeah.
When they made this decision, now they do still have a 5th driver out there. You got to remember Quackwell, or however you say his last name. He's also a Trackhouse driver that's being lent over to Junior Motorsports.
He is a Trackhouse driver?
Yeah, he's a Trackhouse driver.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's in the Trackhouse. He's signed under the Trackhouse, and he's on lend to Junior Motorsports next year.
Well, okay.
So is that Daniel Suarez's replacement? Because I don't think you're getting rid of Ross.
No, you're not getting rid of Ross. Ross is like the main pillar at Trackhouse.
And we don't know how long Daniel Suarez's new contract is. Obviously, they're very secretive of how they put those out.
I hate that. I hate that drivers can't show or most drivers. I'm not saying that, it's everybody, but a fair amount of the drivers, they don't disclose the length of their contracts. Oh, Ryan Blaney signed a multi-year contract. Multi-year. What does that mean? 2 years?
Well, I mean, it doesn't mean anything because Corey LaJoie signed a multi-year last year, and he's out. So
it doesn't mean anything.
They have to have clauses in there. And I agree with you. I hate it because imagine NFL where you don't know how long they're going to be like, all right, how long is Tom Brady? Well, he signed a multi-year. No, how long is Tom Brady going to be there? I don't know. It's multi-year. Okay, well, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I mean, any other major sport, you know how long the contracts are and what they're being paid.
Yeah.
I don't really care to know what drivers make. I mean,
I don't care about what they make. Just tell me how long they're going to be there.
yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like, as a fan, you kind of want to know. Just
Yeah.
Ryan, for instance, Penske doesn't tell you how long their contracts are, and that's the thing. Like, you want to be a Ryan Blaney fan and a Penske fan, like, don't you think you want to know like how long your driver's going to be there? Because we've heard rumors about Ryan.
We've heard rumors about Ryan. We've heard some funky stuff out there. There's been some funny ones out there that we still haven't got any concrete on, but there's some things that could be happening. It's going to be very interesting.
True.
Very, very interesting. On top of that, let's talk about some of the other news that kind of happened this week, and the one that I talked about in the group chat today. NASCAR sounds like they're setting up to have their own 24/7 NASCAR channel called Fast.
Sign me up.
Yeah, 100%. We're finally getting in the realm of MLB TV, NFL TV, NBA TV. We're finally getting there with the big boy sports. And now this one's supposedly will be 24/7 on a streaming platform, which makes sense because obviously there's going to be some races on Amazon next year. And they built this big production facility. And I was like, I thought they were going to work it in where they were going to broadcast some of their own races next year. That didn't end up happening. So I was like, well, why do we have this? And now this is leaking where Race Hub obviously met its end. And now they're talking about, hey, we're going to be 24/7. They're hiring for it. The job postings are out there. I'm excited. Yeah. I hope it comes to fruition, and I hope it's by the end of this year.
I think it will be by then. I think it'll be the beginning of next year, probably, end of this year that they announce it. But yeah, I am totally on board with it. I figured this was kind of the direction we're going to when they announced that they were building that massive state-of-the-art facility, production facility. That's the reason why the CW, I think it is, that's doing Xfinity Series next year. All of their races are going to be produced by this production facility. I even think they said the commentators are going to be there in Charlotte. They're not going to the races, which
that was one of the reasons.
From a financial standpoint, that makes a lot of sense because you don't have to, spend all the time and money moving, crews and stuff around. All you need is, camera equipment and, audio, blah, blah, blah. But I'm excited about it. If this is true, I think it is true. We've seen that they're already got like the resumes, or not resumes, but the applications out for, hiring and everything. So
we know somebody
that's already applied for that. So I think I like it. I'm curious about what kind of content they're going to be producing if it's 24/7. We're going to have like NASCAR classics, every single night, or obviously like a race hub type thing.
Reruns.
Reruns.
Bring all that in there. Bring some of the classics, NASCAR classics,
documentaries, like all
podcasts. Get some more podcasts signed up to where they stream the actual podcast on the streaming service afterwards. Like, I think that'd be awesome. I mean, I wish it wasn't stacking pennies, but I mean, give us some more podcasts on there that stream. I think awesome.
We'll get like some regional races on there, like the Whelen modified series, and obviously ARCA will probably make a move over there.
They could start putting some of the ones that don't have contracts, because and I had a lot of people already comment on the TikTok video where I announced this earlier today, and they're like, well, if I have to pay to watch a race, I'm like, hold on, guys, the TV deal is already done. They're not saying they're going to stream races on this channel. Yeah. This is only they're going to have a NASCAR 24/7 channel.
It's gonna be like Speed, but just for NASCAR. Exactly.
So I'm excited about it, man.
That's something that NASCAR has needed for a long time. There's in a time that NASCAR seems to be having some L's more than not. This is a major W when it comes to NASCAR and what they're doing for their fans. I love it. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for NASCAR to expand its fan base just by having a lot more programming out there for them.
100%.
I mean, I think you'll see probably practice and qualifying on there, because I think that's what they were saying about like the new TV deal for Cup is that.
Well, and let's think about this for a second. And I want to kind of backtrack what I said about they've already announced the TV deal. So Amazon said that they're doing some of the races. What if that was part of setting up the streaming for NASCAR having its own race hub on Amazon? Because that could totally be it, because they're already going to have some practices and qualifying as well.
Yeah,
that would be in line with this. So maybe that was all the bones that we needed, and now NASCAR is just actually putting a name to it.
Yeah, I think it is. I think there is going to be a lot of I guess you would say investment or opportunity from Amazon that probably is lending a hand into this. And I really wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the production assets that is with this Fast TV or whatever it's going to be is going to be also included with, the major TV networks too. So maybe we see a lot of, behind the scenes stuff coming out of this.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we know we're big behind the scenes peeps.
Yeah.
But all right, well, let's get into, or is there any more Daytona you want to talk about? Anything else? Any more storylines there you want to talk about before we get into picks for Darlington?
Other than, we went into Daytona with technically 3 guys for the regular season championship after Denny's penalization, because that pretty much took him out of the regular season championship.
Oh, yeah.
So we went into Daytona with Reddick, Elliott, and Larson probably in contention to win the regular season championship. And now we're going into the last race of the regular season with, honestly, it's just going to be Reddick and Larson. And
unless Reddick wrecks out.
Yeah, well,
Early.
we're going to a track. Yeah, but we're going to a track, though, that those are probably the 2 top guys that, are going to be picked to win that race along with Denny. So this regular season championship is going to be a nail biter for sure.
It will. And I think if Tyler Reddick pulls this off, and I want to say the beginning of this year, I may or may not have picked Reddick to win the championship this year. I think if he ends up with these extra points, the playoff points, it sets him up very, very well for the rest of the playoffs. And I think he goes into being the favorite.
I definitely think you would have him in the championship for sure.
He has to be in the championship 4 at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, him and Larson both. Those 2 are. I feel like you could have them as a lock because unless something drastic happens to either one of them or both of them, I mean, one of those 2 is going to walk away with the regular season championship. 15 bonus points and I think 10 bonus points for second place. So that's going to go a long way towards getting you through the playoff rounds, especially the first 2 rounds where you have Atlanta, Watkins Glen. I mean, those are 2 wild card type races. Got Talladega in the second round. So I don't know, man. It's shaping up to be a interesting playoff run for a couple of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting playoffs for after the first round, but until we get there, it's going to be a little boring, unfortunately. So let's get into Darlington. Let's get into those picks.
I think the first round is going to be pretty insane.
It's going to be boring. It's going to be awesome for us because we're going to be there.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you got the wild card of Atlanta to start the playoffs. That's going to be. I mean, anything's going to happen in Atlanta. Then you got Watkins Glen, which anything could happen in Watkins Glen too, and then Bristol. So I think the first round is really like one of the sketchiest rounds to start off the playoffs. Like that's where you got to have those playoff points banked up.
I mean, I don't know. It's going to be – you're going to have Atlanta, which anything can happen at Atlanta. It races super speedway style like you're talking about. Bristol.
See, she doesn't agree with you.
Well, I'm already outnumbered, so it is what it is. But, no, I mean, you got Bristol. You got, some of these races that are coming up in that first round that I get what you're saying. Nothing is getting me excited about the first round right now, and it's because there's so many drivers in it that they don't have a chance. There's no chance.
I'm excited for the playoffs. Excited for the first round. I'm excited for the playoffs.
I'm excited to be back at racetracks.
11
That's
races.
what I'm excited for. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm ready to be back at the racetrack. We had a nice little stretch.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But all right, that's everything I got for you. Make sure y'all reach out to the sponsors.
Man, we didn't make picks for Darlington. Shut up.
You want picks? So I'm just skipping it. All right, let's go picks. Number 1, who you got?
Kyle
No, I
Larson.
got to pick Larson so he'll wreck.
Nope.
Fucking unlucky the entire time.
Nope.
So for me, sticking with my driver, Bubba Wallace for the W at Darlington. Not a bad pick, Darren.
I had him this week at Daytona.
I thought he was going to be up there for that win. I think he can do very well there at Darlington. He would definitely be up there in the tops of my picks. But I'm going to go something a little different here. I'm still going to keep it in the Toyota family, and I'm going to go with Christopher Bell gets another win.
Man, you should have gone with the 45.
If I go for the 45, he'll wreck, and then Dakota will be mad at me going into Atlanta. Not doing
Pick
it.
the 45 so I can win that regular season championship, dog.
Not doing it. Not doing it.
Hey, I just got to throw this out there. We're second now, regular season championship, only 17 points behind, and that's giving up a race, because we skipped Charlotte. Hey, for real though, we talk about checkers and records. Like Larson's had like the highest DNF statistic this year. Like I think his average finish. Who posted that? I think Nathan posted that in the group. Like,
Yeah.
Like
Ray
from
Charles.
back or consecutive races, like what's their averaging finishing position? Like
Yeah.
win spots, and Larson was the lowest. Like it just shows the checkers and records, but
Yeah.
4 wins, still second in points. Like he's put together a pretty solid season.
I mean, how many championships does he have?
1.
More than a lot of the other drivers.
Yeah.
So it's working. Don't change what's working. I mean, he's got enough money
That's
to
why
fix
I like
it.
it. That's why I like
Yeah.
it. I don't care if he wrecks out.
It is what it is, man. But all right, make sure y'all hit up the sponsors. If you need a new cooler, something to put your beer in at the racetracks, go with Kanga. You can use our code Fascar10. It's going to give you a discount. You can just use the little thing down there. Right there. There you go. Got it. All right. But you can go to their website, use code Fascar10, save 10%. It helps us out as well. If you want to go to our TeePublic, it's all in our LinkedIn. It's going to all be there. But thank y'all so much. That's all I got for you. So till next time, see you.
LinkedIn? What's LinkedIn? Does it mean Linktree?
Whatever.